name is Chiamaka Eugene, and I am a researcher at Centicini. And tonight I'll be the one handling the publication, presenting the publication this night. I'll be starting immediately. Thank you all for joining in the call. Let me share my screen. So our topic for tonight, is a thematic review and meta-analysis on the impact of statin treatments in HIV patients on antiretroviral therapy. Now, this manuscript is a kind of a complex one. It's not so simple, but there's nothing much there. It's just a schematic review. And now, what does this schematic review do? I think the main point I'm going to be buttressing in this presentation this night is what a schematic review entails, and on our topic, that is the impact of statin treatment in HIV patients on antiretroviral therapy. Now, if you look at this topic, I think the main point here that you are going to look at is the impact of statin treatment in HIV patients on ART, that is antiretroviral therapy. And now, what is this? That is the gap. I mean, these researchers, there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are about 6 researchers here, and what a schematic review aims to do is to find a gap in existing literatures. That's just basically it. Any other explanation is like long talk. That's just the summary. Whoever that is a schematic reviewer is just looking for a gap. Like, let me put it this way: person looking for what person is not looking for. Like, you are not satisfied. You just feel like there's something more. That is basically what research is about. That is curiosity. And in this type, it's not like the normal, maybe you are starting from they are giving like a novel research. You want to identify a gap in existing literature. You feel that, okay, yes, there's something that is missing. And you can find this maybe in the limitations and introduction by the time you read about a lot of articles based on your topic, using keywords. Now, this gap is, maybe it was drafted from the question, maybe this person thought, like, how does certain treatments impact HIV patients on antiretroviral therapy? I mean, today I went to the hospital and I was in the HIV unit. Yes. And I really learned a lot about a lot of things. I think I was assisting someone there, and you see families, I think they call them discordant couples. The wife has the virus, but the husband does not. But they put the husband on PrEP so that maybe during family activities or something, the negative person does not contract the virus, while she remains with the virus. And it is also help to prevent the child from contracting the virus. Now, this lady, there are a lot of patients, but this particular one, this lady, she just found out. It's not that she was already like HIV positive. She just found out 5 months into her pregnancy, when they went for antenatal, that she had started her antenatal first month, second month, all of that in her first trimester. And then she just found out in her 5th month that she had HIV/AIDS. The devastating news, and it's a new marriage. So, to cut the long story short, the rate of HIV is, and the way it's increasing is really alarming. But now our topic is discussing on statin treatment. Now, what does this statin mean? This statin is just like a medication that is given to patients for low cholesterol. It's used to lower cholesterol levels in blood, especially low density, that is bad cholesterol, etc. So this just used to lower cholesterol levels. And the reason why this statin is given to HIV patients is because the this ART um this ART this ART treatment now affects or poses risk of cardiovascular diseases. It poses risk of cardiovascular diseases. It poses risk of cardiovascular diseases on in patients. Just the normal way drugs that we take can cause liver or kidney dysfunctions in the body due to too much or excess intake. And the thing with this ART now is that this is not the cure for HIV. It is just there to suppress the virus. And that, like I said, that is the really, really sad thing about HIV now, is that once you have it, you have it. Like, it's not going, it's not malaria that, maybe when you take the drug, after some time, you go with mosquito bites you again, you take another drug. There is no complete cure for HIV. This is just the ART, like that, and its job is just to suppress the virus, reduce the viral load, and prevent it from, you know, going into AIDS. You get. And for real, when they say HIV, they show for face, because these people, they look healthy, really, really, really healthy. So you wouldn't even know. And it will come like, it also helps in the fact that they are taking their medications every day, and you have to take it every day. So imagine the impact on the liver, the impact on the kidney, and now the studies have shown that it also poses risk to cardiovascular diseases. And now this is what this manuscript is talking about. It is a manuscript because this is the first quantitative manuscript that is trying to analyze or show the interaction between the statin treatments on HIV patients, on antiretroviral therapy. Now, moving forward, now this is the title. We have identified the gap. Now, or taking everything at the same time. We're going to look at the journal here. The journal is the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health, IJCAERP. You see it somewhere in the manuscript. And it was done by 6 authors: Cabello, Palabuni. I won't be saying all their names, but these are South Africans, about 6 of them. And the affiliations, we have the Department of Life and Consumer Sciences, College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, University of South Africa, Florida Campus, Johannesburg, etc. The Faculty of Health Sciences, and their Non-Communicable Disease and Disease Research Unit, South African Medical Research Council. So now, without going straight into the abstracts, I think sometimes if I'm making a presentation, I always say that once you discuss your abstracts, I think you've touched everywhere, because abstracts is just like a summary of everything that is written in your manuscript, and this is commonly used for systematic reviews. Now, what does this abstract state? It gives your introduction, it discusses, gives your conclusion, and everything. So, this abstract, according to what the author said, the rate of the human immunodeficiency virus HIV infections globally is alarming, like I said. Although antiretroviral therapy improves the quality of life among these groups of patients, ARTs are associated with risk of cardiovascular diseases. Moreover, virally suppressed patients still experience immune activation, that is Yes, immune activation associated with HIV migration from reservoir sites. Statins are widely recommended as therapeutic agents to control ART-related CVD. However, their impact on the cluster of differentiation, now this is the CD4 count. Let me go back to somewhere. They say the ARTs are associated with risk of cardiovascular diseases. Moreover, virally suppressed patients still experience immune activation associated with HIV migration from the several sites. Now, what this means is that although these ART drugs they help to suppress these viruses, this doesn't mean that the viruses are gone. These viruses still hide in reserve. They call them reservoir sites. Some are very latent. That means it's as if they are sleeping, but where you get more of this immune activation is in the bone marrow. You can find the reservoir site, bone marrow, the brain, etc. So these things now, it is still possible for these HIV to be activated even if they are suppressed by ART. So in that sense, statins are widely recommended as therapeutic agents to control ART-related CVDs. Now, exactly what I said here is the fact that they give these statins to control the ART-related CVDs. In fact, that, like I said, the effects of ARTs as it poses risk to developing cardiovascular diseases. However, their impact on the cluster of effects, this CD4 counts, these are just like these are protein cells that are found in the body, particularly the T helper cells. This is the particular site that this HIV virus attacks. This is the particular site that this HIV virus attacks. And it is meant to be that in the natural disposition, these are the cells that is supposed to fight against HIV. And now is the tricky thing, it now affects that cell. If that these viruses now affect another part, another cell of the immune system, then maybe and these T cells are the ones to fight against this HIV. I don't think we'll be having this problem because this one they just directly attack these cells which are meant to fight, and the other cells cannot fight against it. So apart from that, and these cells are found in these are blood cells. That's why the major sites is the bone marrow. Apart from that, they also stay in the brain and in other places. So, however, their impact on the cluster of differentiation, CD4 counts, and viral load are inconsistent. When I mean viral load, that is how many the density of virus in the person's body. To assess the effect of statins on markers of HIV infections, immune activation, and cholesterol, we thoroughly reviewed evidence from randomized control trials. Yes, we found 20 relevant trials from 3 databases with 1,802 people living with HIV, that is pure HIV, on statin placebo treatment. Our evidence showed that no significant effects on CD4 T cell count standardized mean differentiation. Okay, let's just keep that. Our findings revealed no significant association between statins and risk of viral rebound in PLHV with undetectable viral load risk ratio. That means the use of these statins now. Let me just summarize what they mean here. The use of these statins now is that these statins pose risk of cardiovascular disease, and it doesn't now mean that they are negative or cannot be used. I think there are sometimes that some drugs, I've forgotten what terminology it is. Know whether you can use this drug with another drug. This statins now, it does not affect the effectiveness of ART. Instead, it poses risk of just developing the cardiovascular disease, whereas the statins in its normal use, maybe not on HIV patients, they are supposed to aid in CVDs or reduce cholesterol levels, whereas when used or when given to HIV patients, because these patients, they are now very much prone to a lot of illnesses because of their immune system has been dilapidated. So these statins now, normally they are supposed to aid in lower cholesterol levels, but when they are now used or given to HIV patients, they now pose risk. So according to these findings and etc., these statins do not affect the fact that okay, the ART suppress the virus, it reduces the viral load, increases CD4 test counts, etc. No, the only thing is just that does not, it poses risk to the cardiovascular diseases, and then that's it. So our results suggest that the statin lipid-lowering effect on PL, HIV, and ART may elevate immune activation without suppressing the viral load and CD4 counts. That's actually what we're saying. However, due to the limited evidence synthesized in this meta-analysis, we recommend that future powered trials with sufficient sample sizes evaluate statins' effects on CD4 counts and viral load, especially in virally suppressed patients. Okay, according to them, they didn't use enough sample sizes to evaluate this statins effects to check what they are searching for. Now, the key was the HIV statin, antiviral therapy, CD4 counts, immune activation, viremia. These are what you'd be, these keywords, these are what you'd be seeing mostly when we are talking, when you are reading this publication now. And these keywords too can also be used when maybe they want to find a lot of existing literatures in databases. You just have to search for HIV statin. Maybe if you are working on something, maybe AI, machine learning, pediatrics, your keywords will be AI, machine learning, pediatrics, weight loss, everything. You know what you're searching, you'll be able to get a lot of articles. Then you screen using your inclusion and exclusion criteria to know which one you are going to take out your data from, and that's it. Then introduction. The introduction is the same thing. HIV is a public health concern according to the 2021 UNAIDS report. About 38.4 million people were living with HIV globally, and 1.5 million new infections and 650,000 deaths from AIDS-related illnesses were recorded. Regionally now, you see that about 7.5 million children and adults in South Africa were living with HIV in 2021. This significant rate of new infections suggests an increasing need to combat this virus through prevention and treatment respectively. Yes, this virus attacks the individual's immune system, that is also known as the CD4 count, and predisposes the infected individuals to various infections, including metabolic and acquired immune deficiency virus syndromes. HIV has received enormous research and sessions since its outbreak. Just recently, researchers have been exploring the bone marrow transplantation approach, which seems to be associated with the elimination of HIV reservoirs. However, this is risky as it involves replacing individual bone marrows with HIV-resistant stem cells from a donor, implying that the patients will be susceptible to opportunistic infections during this procedure. What this means is that while we are saying that ART now is not a complete cure, researchers are trying to find a means to develop a complete cure, and there are two ways. I've forgotten the other way. The first way and the most common way, I think they had is survive a what do you call this way? I think they had a successful patient. What do you call that one? A London patient and a Berlin patient. Yes, and this bone marrow is the bone marrow transplantation approach. Remember that these viruses affect majorly the bone marrow, and the initiative, or I don't know English call it, is that they change the bone marrow of that HIV infected patient completely because it is destroyed by the virus, and replace it with donor um, transplants. Which, okay, the assumption is that after this, the new one would now have be strong enough to fight against the disease in its natural state. The body has the natural ability to heal, but when supported with maybe drugs and etc. So maybe if it is they now transplant it and new T cells are there, it will be strong enough because it's new to now completely kill these HIV viruses. That is the assumption, although it is still in well, I say that is the plan, although it is still in study and etc. So, but this is risky in the sense that this transplantation, they don't yet, how do I put it? They don't work immediately. Yes, they don't work immediately. And remember that these viruses are still in other reservoirs. They've just transplanted the bone marrow only. They can still be found in the brain and in other areas. So now, imagine you don't have blood cells at all. That is what's called opportunistic infection. Imagine you don't have this bone marrow because during this procedure they kill or completely destroy the bone marrow of these infected patients. Now imagine you don't have this bone marrow at all. You are nothing, you are not on any drug, you are not suppressing it. These viruses, let's say, they are evil in the sense that once they know that no, okay, there's nothing, they do start up their work immediately. So imagine during that, even though it's a very short period, it could be even minutes, they still have this opportunity to now spread again, and the new bone marrow will be useless because the viral load will be much. So it's, let's say, it can be a very failed procedure, although they said there's successful ones by the longer patients, etc. So nevertheless, the introduction and progress made with ART have improved the quality of life of people living with HIV. The number of AIDS-related complications and deaths has since decreased in those that adhere to ART. Now, the fundamental goal of ART is to improve the immune system through increasing CD4 counts and successfully suppressing HIV. This method stops the disease progression and reduces the risk of vulnerability to opportunistic infections. However, ART has repeatedly been linked to an increased risk of CVD as demonstrated by impaired lipid profile. So I won't be going further. I think everything we are saying here is just the same thing going back and forth. The reference here is Vancouver. Then materials and methods. Materials and methods is just, when you mean materials and methods, is you are just telling us how you conducted it. You want to prove to us that this is how you conducted your work, your paper. So yeah, the study design and registration. The current study was conducted and reported following the formatting guidelines recommended by preferred reporting items for systematic guides Prisma. Due to the study design, no institutional ethics, yes, ethics approval and patient front consent were required. Only evidence from RCTs was sought and analyzed. Using Prisma, it highly encourages writing your registration, procedure registry. This is written on here. So, search strategy and information sources, relevant RC research from inception until February 2023 and reviews from headlines, purpose, preparing library, irrespective of the language. And language wasn't a limitation here. Using the medical subject headings, terms or test words, etc. Eligibility criteria, study selection, that is your inclusion and exclusion criteria. That inclusion criteria is what you want to include in your work. The exclusion criteria is what you don't want to include in your work. That's just it. So this inclusion exclusion is just when you get, okay, you have your paper, you've identified your gap, you submitted your research question, everything. Now you want to find out some information from certain databases. You now establish your inclusion criteria. Yes, inclusion and exclusion criteria. You establish it. How do you establish? There is one people framework that's used, population intervention, and others. So once you establish your inclusion exclusion criteria, you now know that, okay, yes, this is what I want to search on. Impact of starting treatment in HIV patients on antiretroviral therapy. This is what do I know? Because this keyword now is what you are going to use to search for in your databases. A lot of papers. You will now decipher, okay, what I want to include is you're focusing on the impact of starting treatment in HIV, anyone that is relevant to you, you'd you take it, the ones that is not relevant, you'd exclude it. So that's just it. Then data extraction and quality assessments. This is using quality is just basically is that it's best done by two people, that is two researchers. You also do it as for peer review so that you get enough feedback. Data synthesis and analysis was conducted or were conducted using Redman 5.4 software. The Cochrane collaboration and MetaFund, a web to accessible arts. Yeah, definitely. So for me, I feel like this people's work is really, really very, very detailed. And I think that's why it was easily accepted. Because if you look here, I was using a laptop now to explain. If you look here, this work was received 10th of March, reviewed 21st April, accepted 25th April, and published. That's a very, very, very short period of time. Some work takes like 2 years before they are accepted and published. But this took like a very short time. I don't know completely how it went, but if what they are writing here is what they did, then not, because when I saw that I was like, it's just not like a very short time. And I checked the article and I was like, okay, I see why, because they just finished work in this place. So let's go back to this place. Now the results. If we start looking at these results one by one, we're not finished today. But I'll just be giving like a summary. Now the results, remember their methodology, they used Prisma. So this is the Prisma, this figure 1, this is the Prisma flow diagram. Prisma flow diagram shows your inclusion and exclusion criteria. So the comprehensive search for the literature from these databases yielded 785 records that were screened and evaluated at the title, abstract, and keyword level. Now, there's something that happens after your. Sorry. There's something that happens after your. There's something that happens after your inclusion and exclusion. After you establish your inclusion and exclusion, you are going to do something that is called the screening, and it's two methods, two ways. You screen, that is when you've established your inclusion criteria. Now that's what you are using. You screen from title and abstract, and then you also do full text screening. So that's what they are stating here. So you look at it from the title and abstract. Okay, title abstract. Like for example, as I say, title abstract just states everything. For example, if I put in my keywords, let's say HIV, and I see HIV, I'm saying something like HIV and maternal boosting. No, no, no. That is an automatic exclusion criteria because that's not what we are working on. The specific here is that we are looking at the impact of statin. Okay, and that's okay. Let me include statin, and I'm saying maybe from the title abstract, I'm saying I think this is even a very easy way to screen out. I'm saying starting on HIV. No, I'm saying starting on cardiovascular patients. No, I'm like, no, no, no. Although I'm looking at this, I want HIV patient. So that's just basically it. So finally, 20 studies were included, of which 12 trials used rosuvastatin of either 10, 20, or 80 mg milligram. 4 use atorvastatin of 10, 30, 40 mg. 4 use pravastatin at 40 mg, and 1 use pitavastatin of 2 mg. These studies were published in peer-reviewed journals between 2004 and 2021. That is far back. Thus, tracing old and advanced evidence on statins in people living with HIV taking ARC of 1,802 pale HIV taking ARC, etc. So, for all 4 domains, we found the quality to be good. Domain 1 received an overall score of 20 out of a possible score of 21. Domain 2 scored 18 out of 21, and domain 3 and 4 received at least 14 out of 21. Across individual studies, about 2 were rated fair as they scored at least 2 points, 10 rated good with a score of about 3, and lastly 8 studies scored 4 points and were rated excellent. That is because they distributed these publications across 7 countries. I feel like yeah. So this is the flow diagram. This is just showing exactly what they did here from PubMed now. These are the databases now from PubMed. They recorded about 15, from Cochrane 17. This is a very detailed way to show how many and specify each databases that they search from. So I think this table shows further explanation on their search. Yeah, I think it's special. Okay, let's see the result. So the effect of statin on CD8 plus and CD4 plus CD38 plus LADR plus cells. Okay. They say we evaluated the effects of statin on markers of immune activation, evidence from 5 trials. They are still telling us we are seeing the result. They are still telling us what they did in trying to find out the effect of statin, breaking them down. This one is the effect of statin on undetectable HIV load. This one is the effect of statin on total cholesterol in HIV patients on ART. They say total cholesterol TC data were extracted from 9 studies with 20 PL-HIV taking statin, 200 PL-HIV taking statin treatment. The pooled effect estimate revealed a significant reduction in total cholesterol following statin treatment compared to placebo treatments. However, we observed substantial heterogeneity amongst these studies. That was very detailed. I think maybe one day, maybe another of our manuscript reading to be a continuation of a paper, but we'll just be focusing on methodology and results. Will show us how these things are done, how they carry out, how they did the table, how they plotted their graph, the forest plots, etc. So now in the discussion, we discuss, gave discussion. So according to our knowledge, no meta-analysis explored the effects of statins on an ART enhanced before T-cell count. We found that in about 1,802 PL HIV on ART, there were no significant effects of statin on either baseline or post-treatment before T-cell count compared to placebo. We've also found that a significant elevation in markers of T-cell activation focus on both CD8 plus, etc. T-cells. Furthermore, we showed that statins in pale HIV treated with ARC significantly reduced TC levels. This was exactly what we are saying. This discussion, we are trying to explain their results, in a higher light. Sorry, more light. So exactly what I said, that these statins, they don't, did I say cause any effect or stop the action of ART antibody, but they can cause cardiovascular disease while trying to reduce TC levels in the body. So I don't think something there. Yeah. So let's go to the strengths and limitations. Now, in strengths and limitations, said this study is the first quantitative analysis to explore the effects of statin on CD4 T cell counts, viral loads, and immune activation in ARC controlled KL 2000. The evidence may be reliable as evidence was gathered from high quality RCT across different databases. Other outcomes were analyzed using evidence from a few studies with small sample sizes. Therefore, caution must be made. Now, this is the limitation. They use small sample sizes. Caution must be made when interpreting the analyzed evidence. Although heterogeneity was high, subgroup analysis was conducted to explore the source, which was suggested by evidence to be arising from different doses. Through subgroup analysis, we also established that pravastatin and pitavastatin effectively reduced TC among virally suppressed patients. Most importantly, the baseline and post-treatment CD4 T cell counts were meta-analyzed. So that is important. So yeah, in the conclusion, we can say this meta-analysis highlights the importance of statin in PL-HIV whose viral load is maintained below a detectable level using ART. Yeah, that's it. Our findings revealed no significant difference in CD4 count, baseline treatment, suggesting no beneficial effects of statin on these parameters. Notably, viral load and CD4 counts are primarily used to monitor ART efficacy among PL-HIV on ART. Moreover, the findings revealed no statistical association between statin and risk of viral rebounds. Moreover, they found that statin was significantly associated with an increased marker of immune activation, suggesting the risk of developing HIV-related complications. Now, this conclusion does give like that conclusion of what we said. Now, there's something that they said here. It said that They said that the findings revealed no statistical association between statin and risk of viral rebounds. Viral rebounds are just, as ARC suppressing, exactly what they are saying. ARC suppressing it, reducing your viral load. Viral rebounds is like an occurrence when there's not an increase in that viral load, so you're not taking medications or body systems, change in immune system, etc. He said that these taxes do not affect all these things, just everything you're saying, they don't affect them, but they can increase CVDs for the patient. However, more trials may be necessary to ascertain the effects of statin on CD4 T cell counts, as this remains an essential biomarker that reflects ART efficacy in fear of HIV. So I think these people have gotten their answer. The fact that, okay, statin might impact HIV patients, but does not affect HIV patients on ART, that is those that are receiving ART is not what they're supposed to be receiving ART. So these are just optional add-ons here, supplementary materials, offer contributions, funding, said we do not receive external funding, external review board statements, informed consent statements, data availability statements. Please pause for your information if you need more on it. Now, references. Yeah, references is just giving like where exactly you got your, where you got their papers, all papers that they worked on and their data sets. And this is Vancouver. So I think that's it. I'm done. If you have any question, please you can ask.
Oh, it was really interesting. I was just following up and it was quite very interesting. So you said something about you deserve me to clap for you. Yes. You said something about I don't know, did you release exactly the statistical results? Was there any effects measure or in the abstract? Were there statistics in the abstract?
Sorry, can you come again?
Like what I'm saying is, were there any data in the abstract that we can go home with, like data or statistics or kind of effects measures?
Yeah, there was.
So, alright. Alright, so I think I'm going to ask. Yes. I think I can see that, and it was risk. I can actually see some effect measures like risk ratio, and I think that's the only thing I can see if I can look at that clearly. So I want to actually put this out to any of our listeners there, maybe looking at working on any related manuscript or article. This is just like that guideline for you to get started with your publication or whatever. So systematic review design is really very, very powerful, and it can actually give you a lot of edge in how you decide to start your writing process. Systematic reviews form the highest level of evidence. So it means that all the decisions that are being taken are drawn largely from evidence from systematic reviews, because it's at the top tier of the hierarchy of evidence. So I think I would really say that was a very great presentation, and I really learned a lot. So while I was participating in that, I was doing some research and trying to align some findings with what was available in the literature. I was already on Google Scholar doing one or two searches. So thank you very much, Dr. Chiamaka. Dr. Chiamaka, it's a pleasure.